Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Mark McNabb with TopSpeed.com. This is the 2017 Alfa Romeo Giulia Quattrofoglio. It is brand new for 2017 and brand new for the US for this year as well. This marks Alfa's re-entry into the United States as a mass production vehicle or automaker, and this is the high-performance version of their Giulia sedan. If you read TopSpeed.com, we're going to have a full written review there with tons more information, but this is the video walk around, and we're going to take a look at everything around the car, and then we're going to get behind the wheels. So without further ado, let's look up front. Up front, it has that very distinctive Alfa look, that V-style grille that has been kind of an icon for the brand for the better part of 90 years or so. It's got that distinctive logo as well. It looks really smart. Up front, you've got bi-xenon headlights with LED daytime running lights, some really huge aerodynamic stuff. So you've got some ductwork here for the intercoolers that cool the twin turbos. You've got brake ducts here that help cool the front Brembo rotors and pads. To unload this spoiler, it is carbon fiber. It is also the first and only active front aerodynamic piece on a sedan of this class, so that's kind of interesting. You've got some heat extractors here in the hood that help pull heat from the engine bay. A lot of heat is generated by the engine. Moving around to the side, you see those rather beautiful 19-inch wheels and really huge Brembo brakes. They are drilled rotors and vented, of course. I will say brake dust is an issue with this car. That is 1 week's worth of brake dust, but hey, you know what? That cleans up. Gives you an excuse to wash the car. Got some Pirelli P0 tires on it. That is the iconic Quattrofoglio badge. Another heat extractor there. Side profile of the car is typical sedan, right? It's a long nose, tall greenhouse, short rear overhang. But you know, it just looks great from this angle, especially from the back. The greenhouse is a little taller than most in the class, which leads to really good headroom inside. You race car types should have no problem putting on a helmet inside this car, going around a track. Back here we've got more aerodynamic stuff and carbon fiber. That is a true carbon fiber spoiler here. There's the Giulia name. Nice LED tail lights. And of course down low, some very huge quad exhaust tips here with a nice diffuser that comes off of a plate that runs just about the length of the car. So a lot of aerodynamic stuff going on inside this, or around outside the Giulia Quattrofoglio. Now, Alfa Romeo did do some interesting stuff with this car for lightweight purposes. So the fenders and the doors are all aluminum. The roof and the hood are actually carbon fiber. So that is really, really interesting, especially at this price point, especially for what it is. Pricing does start right at around $72,000. Let's take a look under that hood. It does have keyless enter and go, so you can simply pull the door handle, it unlocks. There's the button to lock it. Alright, so this is a 2.9 liter 90-degree V6 with 2 turbochargers. It is Ferrari derived, thanks to the partnership between Ferrari and Alfa Romeo. It makes 505 horsepower and 431 pound-feet of torque. If I'm wrong on that, you'll see it on the bottom of the screen. There is that uncovered carbon fiber hood. Really cool detail. There's those heat extractors there. A lot of really just interesting stuff to look at under here. And of course it does say Alfa Romeo there on the engine cover. And it does have the Quattrofolio badge on it there too. This is going to be the same engine that's going to go in the SUV version of this car as well. Except that one does come with all-wheel drive. This mates to a ZF 8-speed automatic and powers the rear wheels only. So let's take a look inside. And by the way, that is called the Stelvia, the SUV version. Hope you can see it because of the really harsh sunlight on this lovely December morning. But here is the interior. It's got some very heavily bolstered sport seats here with Alcantara and leather behind the wheel. You're greeted with a very molded steering wheel here with Alcantara, leather, carbon fiber, and aluminum. To start the car, push this button after you push brake, and the car wakes up. So go ahead and close the door and take a look at stuff. So immediately you are greeted with Alcantara, leather, and carbon fiber everywhere. It's just like the steering wheel. So you've got Alcantara here on the top of the door, there in the center part, leather armrest with contrast stitching, which matches the contrast stitching on the seating, which matches the contrast stitching here on the center armrest, which matches the contrast stitching here on the steering wheel. It's just a very, well, cohesive environment. Let's see if I can move the car. That way we can get a better view. There we go. Kill that harsh sunlight. So as you can tell, we have a digital speedometer here in the center, a very nice easy to read tach, and a analog speedometer over there. Fuel and temperature are digitally read, and by the button here you can scroll through different stuff on the information screen. It's a lot of good stuff there. The center infotainment system is not touchscreen, however it is a large screen and everything is controlled here by this dial. So if you want to go through, you can simply use it much like Audi. So you can hit menu, return to the main menu, there's radio, you've got media, phone, navigation, applications, and settings. One nice thing, neat thing about the car is under applications you can see My Car, click that. There's your tire pressure readout. Really like the way they have displayed that. It is very graphic, very interesting. You can see your maintenance stuff, oil level, all that sort of neat stuff right there under apps and My Car. You've also got an efficiency drive mode, so you can see basically how you're doing as far as driving efficiently. Most people probably won't use that. You know, this is the Quattrofolio model, so most people are probably going to be driving this pretty hard. This is navigation, and navigation is 3D, so it provides some pretty nice views here as well. One nice thing is the top of this pad is a writing pad, so if you want to enter an address or something like that, you could scroll through, turn the dial, and do all that sort of stuff, or you can simply write your response in. So just like that, and it will tell you where to go. Different stuff. It does have Sirius XM, it does have AM FM. There is no CD, but who does that anymore? There is a USB port right down here for aux input and all that sort of stuff. If you really want aux input, there's another one down here, as well as another USB and a 12-volt power outlet. Volume for the radio is here, as well as forward, back, and then power is pushing down. Now you may have noticed this little button here. That's important for this car. That is the DNA selector switch. Now, of course, DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, if you remember in your chemistry and biology classes, but for here, it's very important because it means dynamic, normal, and advanced efficiency. Advanced efficiency, of course, means fuel savings, and as you can see as I turn the dial, it shows the different colors for the drivetrain. Kind of makes it look all-wheel drive, but it's not, it's just front-wheel drive. And you've got one more setting up top, race. And if you do that, there you're in race, but look at all this stuff over here. You've got ESB is off, lane departure, cruise control, all that sort of stuff is off. So that means if you are in race mode, you probably should be on the track and a professional driver, because there are no nannies to save you. Interesting thing here, if you turn out of race or back into race, you can actually, either in race or in dynamic, you can control the suspension. You can make it softer, the active dampers, without disturbing any of the actual things that make the car in dynamic mode. So you've got the steering, the throttle, the transmission shifts points, and engine programming, stuff like that. So you get all the joy, but without the harsh ride, and it really does make a difference. Now, speaking of transmission, this is the very BMW-like transmission here. So you've got park. If you press the brake and pull the trigger on the front, pull back, there's drive, neutral, reverse, and if you push it over here, now you're into manual mode. You can either do it forward and back like this, or, of course, most preferably, using the paddle shifters. The paddle shifters work just amazingly, and look how huge they are. They go all the way from probably the 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock positions, or make that 10 o'clock and 8 o'clock on the steering wheel. So lots of room to hold the paddle shifters. I like that a lot. One interesting thing to note, though, is that the transmission does not have a sport mode per se. So you can't leave it in automatic mode and it in sport mode, so it's not holding gears longer and stuff like that. But oddly enough, if you pull it back, that's where sport mode should be, but it's just not there. So if you want to hold gears longer and all that sort of stuff, you got to do it in manual mode. You may be wondering where all the cup holders are. Well, nice little hidden compartment here with cup holders. That works pretty well. The only thing is, you know, us Americans and our large drinks, if you get like the super size McDonald's or whatever like that, it starts hitting the buttons up here for the HVAC. So, small little thing there, but it's not really a big deal for your average size coffee mugs or anything like that. Now, as far as HVAC controls, you've got dual zone, you've got fan control speed here. It does have heated seats and a heated steering wheel. Both work very well at getting you very warm. You do have different controls as far as where the air comes out, so you can control that sort of stuff. And of course defrost and all that sort of good stuff. So, there's carbon fiber there. All that sort of good stuff. Let's take a look at the back seats before we get started. One thing to note too, this car does have automatic start-stop, and to turn that off, you simply push that button right there. Automatic light control, so you've got off, automatic parking and lights on. If you leave it in auto, things are fine. And this button here, that is rear fog lights, so if you push that, the brake lights get brighter and stay on brighter for a longer amount of time. Small little cubby hole there as well for change or whatever else you want to store there as well. So, and some pretty nice bright pedals that are nice and covered. In the back seats, you've got a decent amount of room. It's not big. Don't plan on putting a full-size car seat back here or taking grandma on a 14-hour drive. There's no center armrest. There's not really a whole lot of creature comfort back here. In fact, there's not even a cup holder. I guess that's one on the door, but don't expect to get a tall drink in there. Especially don't expect to get tall people back here either. I'm not very tall. I'm right at about 5'6", and that's where my feet can go. Luckily, there are air vents back here. That's nice, and there's also a USB port here too. So, you know, and honestly, headroom is great. I've got plenty of that here thanks to the really tall roof. I do have grab handles, but for an extended trip, this probably would be kind of old after a while. And there's a good overview of the dash. Just a really pretty design. I like the way that Alfa did that a lot. It just looks really smart, really high-tech. Just an overall nice design. So let's get behind the wheel and see what this car is really all about. Alright, so behind the wheel of the Giulia, you know, I gotta say this car is very, very purposeful in its design, in its execution of being a really awesome four-door sports sedan. Alfa Romeo has come out of the gate for America in 2017 as a real, true competitor to the BMW 3 Series and the Mercedes C-AMG. You know, it just it's a very impressive car for their first stab at being back in the States. And, you know, I gotta say, I really like this car. There's a lot of very nice attributes, a very nice driving experience, and, of course, 505 horsepower. That's hard to argue against. So a little bit about the car from behind the wheel. So all of the carbon fiber parts and the aluminum door skins and the aluminum fenders and all that sort of stuff add up to a very light feeling and very nimble experience behind the wheel. This car is very tossable. It feels very peppy, of course, and of course it just feels light on its feet. And that sound is so addicting that you always want to stay in the throttle. The steering is very, very precise. There's zero on-center deadness or vagueness. The steering is very responsive back into your hands. You can feel what the road is doing at just about all times, even in the normal mode or advanced efficiency modes of the DNA system. It's just a very precise driving experience. One of the things I really enjoy too is that even though I'm in dynamic mode, I can put the suspension into comfort mode. When I do that, I still get all of the great driving characteristics, but the suspension is not quite so hard. That makes it nice over really rough roads or things like that when you're still trying to be kind of aggressive with it. Gauge cluster is very easy to read. Visibility is excellent as well. And you know, the seating position here with these bolstered seats, very fantastic as far as side support and everything like that. So you feel as one with the sedan, as cheesy as that sounds. It really is true. It works very well. And I like the bolsters are adjustable as well. So that's very nice. So as far as power, you know, you've got that 2.9 liter V6 twin turbo, making 505 horsepower, 431 pound-feet of torque. But the delivery on that is just fantastic. ZF 8-speed automatic transmission with very huge paddle shifters here. When in dynamic mode, the thing shifts extremely quickly and is rather nice to operate. It's just a good experience overall. With it being rear-wheel drive, you do get quite a bit of rear play. It's very tail-happy. In dynamic mode, traction control is still enabled, which saves you. That is very good. However, in race mode, You don't want to do that on the street because traction control turns completely off. I wish there was more of a kind of a gradual step down with that, but you know, it is what it is. So you've got race and dynamic, leave it in dynamic for on the street. So the steering is good, like I said. Braking is good, although it is very touchy because it's got a very, very short throw with the pedal. If you go on to topspeed.com, I've written a short little snippet about that. It's only 1.5 inches travel in the pedal. And at higher speeds, it's fine, but around town, you start getting a little bit of kind of herky-jerkiness because it's so hard to modulate that brake pedal. That's not a major complaint, but it is something to note that around town, even in normal or advanced efficiency modes, you are going to get just a little bit of kind of head-bobbing motions. Anyway, the car is usable, too, as a car. So not only does it lap the Nürburgring in 7 minutes and 32 seconds, but it can also double as your everyday family sedan. So you can take the kids to school, you can pick up groceries, there's enough room in the trunk for luggage. It just works, and there is a lot to be said for that. So for that, I really do like it. Now, of course, with it being what it is, this carbon fiber laced sports sedan from Italy, it is fun to hound. Of course, you can slap it into manual mode, downshift a couple times, and fire off some really quick shifts. There's a lot to be said for that, and that is what this car is meant for. So guys, make sure to read the rest of the full written review on topspeed.com. There's going to be a whole lot of information there, a whole lot more photos, all that sort of stuff that you guys love to look at. Let me know what you think in the comment section, whether you think this is a true competitor to the 3 Series, whether you look at this, maybe the 3 Series, or maybe that AMG C-Class. There's a lot of good stuff in this segment. So, you know, the Alfa has its work cut out on whether it's going to be a very successful car. But my initial impressions on this car for the week I've had it are very, very good. I think they've got a very hot competitor on their hands, and I think that they're going to sell a whole lot of these. So guys, take it easy, have a great week, and happy motoring.
Quem não se lembra da famosa e romântica história de Romeo e Giulietta? Passada lá em Verona, a Giulietta, da família Capuletti, ficava aqui no balcão e o Romeo lá embaixo tecendo loas de amor. Aqui agora é o contrário. Estou eu aqui em cima do balcão, lá embaixo está a Giulietta, Alfa Romeo Giulietta. Não é à toa que Alfa Romeo é um ícone. Há mais de 100 anos, ela ganha nas pistas, ela promove novas tecnologias, ela encanta o mundo. Não é à toa que Enzo Ferrari começou dirigindo carros da Alfa Romeo. Só que os mais recentes lançamentos, a Alfa Romeo, além da esportividade, caprichou no acabamento, no painel, beleza de banco com couro vermelho. Além da parte interna, a suspensão é ponto alto. Ele entra em curva, sai de curva, ó, não tá nem aí. É como se ele estivesse te falando: pode acelerar, pode fazer o que você quiser. Primeiro, eu tenho uma boa suspensão. Segundo, a eletrônica faz o resto. A direção típica do esportivo, como? Ela é macia para manobrar quando está devagar. Mas chega na estrada, ela te dá firmeza. Não é só a direção que dá o toque de esportividade. O motor engana, pois tem apenas 1.400 centímetros cúbicos de cilindrada. Mas é um multi-air com injeção direta e turbo. O resultado são 170 cavalos de raça, embutidos num design típico da Alfa, com linhas ousadas e harmoniosas. Tem cara de carro bravo. O espaço é bom para motorista e passageiros. E a ergonomia ótima. Bagagem
vai muito bem acomodada no porta-malas de 350 litros, que se ampliam para 1.045 litros com o encosto traseiro rebaixado.